I'm going to be sharing with you in this video one of the most important things that I think most people don't consider when it comes to manifesting what you want. And what I want to talk about is the state that you're actually in. Because most people think like, oh, I want this thing. I want this thing. This thing's going to fulfill me. And I think that wanting things is a beautiful desire. You deserve to have everything you want. Why shouldn't you have everything you want? But the thing that I think most people fail to realize is to bring in the spiritual and the physical into one. So what that means is feeling how you want to feel and having what you want. Why do these things have to be a contradiction? That's the question. Why do they have to be a contradiction? Because the thing is that most people think that, oh, it's going to be really hard to manifest what I want. It's going to be difficult. It's just not true. The truth is that if you believe it's going to be hard, then it will be. That's the truth. So one thing that I've learned to realize, one thing that I've realized is to stop believing in lack. Not to believe in it, because it's so simple. It's so simple that I think we can overlook the significance and then get lost in the lack. Because like every moment is like so sacred, and like especially when you start to get really, really sensitive and in tune. By the way, I wrote a whole email on this. Subscribe to the free meditation if you haven't already, because I do send out emails, and there's only like certain types of things that I can send in those emails that you can't really see on video. It's just there's certain information that I can't share on YouTube. So like for various different reasons. So the thing is that once you start to really become sensitive, and by the way, I think that we're all sensitive. This whole idea of like sensitive or like empathic beings. I don't want to sound like too vulgar or too intense, but like I really do think like on some level that whole paradigm is a joke, because like we're all spiritual beings. We're all spiritual beings having a human experience, and that doesn't have to be contradictory to the human experience. In fact, being human and being spiritual are one and the same. Every single moment is an opportunity to evolve more into who you are, to integrate that higher self into who you are now. Because you can have all these great spiritual insights, deep, connections to, some higher version of you. But the truth is, like, how much have you integrated that? Are you able to sustain that? Let's just say you've manifested wealth in the past. Manifested wealth. Oh my gosh. Manifestations coming in left and right. Manifestations all over the place. Here, there. Manifestation. Boom, boom. But then you lost it. You weren't able to sustain it. If that was your experience, then what I want to share with you is that actually that means that there wasn't a full integration. The lack pulled you back to the old reality, right? And this is a common thing that people experience, is especially when you're really leveling up to a much higher level and you're calling in something incredibly powerful that you've never manifested before. That's a whole new version of who you are. This is when all the subtle, what I call lack frequencies, or another way to say it is contradicting vibrations. Some people, and this is debatable, might even call it a trauma. Now, I personally don't really like that word, because I think it discredits, because personally, I think that it discredits the real truth of what it means to be a human being, a divine creator, which are not separate. Like, maybe I should stop using the word divine creator, because it's yes, we are divine creators. Yes, absolutely. But being a human is not separate. It is one. It's one energy. It's one and the same. There's this idea like, oh, it's separate. It's out there, right? No, it's not out there. Everything is literally you. Everything is it's frequency. It's vibration. Now, frequency and vibration is physical matter. That's not separate. Physical matter and frequency are one and the same. So when you change your frequency, you change your physical experience, your human experience. So, Abraham Hicks, some people might look at a teacher like that and think like, oh my gosh, it's like, she says things like, just go take a nap. Go take a nap, right? She's like, stop telling people about your problems and just go pet the cat, in the, at the park. And that's her version of like expressing how to teach. And then you think like, well, Abraham, like, can you teach me something? Can you teach me a technique? Can you give me a technique? Can you give me like something tangible? And don't get me wrong, like techniques are important. Looking for structure is important. But at some point though, like the structure that you need personally to get what you want, you'll find it. You'll always find it if you know what you want to create and where you want to go. So if you start to consciously direct your attention toward what you want to manifest, what will start to happen is that all the old energy will try to pull you back to the old reality. Now, it's up to you to notice that, and depending on how big your manifestation is and how close you are, it's going to seem like completely backwards to what you've been conditioned to be in the past. And the bigger the manifestation is, it's like there's an opportunity for it to be 50 times more epic, or you just go back to the old reality. But it's critical to be aware of what you're doing, how you're showing up, how you're feeling, because like you got to be honest with yourself, right? If you want to create something that is really important to you, if you feel lack, it's a choice to believe in that. Absolutely, it is a choice. And once we start to do that, once we start to be more aware of that lack, that's when you start to take your power back. The stronger the lack gets, the more that you want to stop believing in it, because that resistance, that feeling of resistance, that feeling of lack trying to pull you in for the ride, it's not real. It's a sham. It's a sham. It's the biggest sham of all time. You've been lied to. You've been lied to. You've been absolutely lied to by society. Society has been lying to you. Because the truth is that once you start to really be more aware of what you're creating and how you want to live and what you want to be and how you want to show up, that's when you stop believing in all these things that have nothing to do with who you actually are, and you stop getting pulled in for the ride. Now, if you believe that you have to step into some lack frequency, I would say honor that 100%. For sure, 100% honor that, 100%. Like, just go back, like, if you really, really get to the point where you're like, okay, gosh, I don't have the capacity to, like, expand and to go into this new version and to be who I am and to manifest my reality. I just gotta slow down all this intense energy and just relax a little bit. Just relax, just go back to the old way. You can do that. That's fine. That's completely fine. In fact, I would encourage you to honor that belief system if you really feel that way. But the most important thing to really realize is that if you're not truly feeling into that and trusting yourself to be who you actually want to be, then what's going to start to happen is that you're just going to be pulled into this old reality again and again and again. It's like, how much longer are you going to do that to yourself? Because the only person that you're really hurting when you do that is you're hurting yourself. You're not hurting anybody else. You're hurting anybody else. You're hurting yourself. you're hurting yourself because And also you're hurting somebody outside of you as well because like they are you. But that, by the way, that's karma. You know what karma is? Karma is creating an energy that you don't actually want to experience. That's karma. That's karma. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't feel every single emotion. People think like, okay, so if I'm manifesting my reality, that means I shouldn't feel my emotions. No. Every single emotion should be felt. And I get the concern when I start talking like this. It's like, well, do I feel my emotions, or do I, focus on my desire? Like, what should I do? What should I do, right? And that's the thing. It's like it's the ultimate paradox. Is you have to do both. You have to do a little bit of both. You have to learn how to step into that space of non-resistance. How to step into that space of you're being who you authentically actually are. And then anything that the world will bring up in your experience that has nothing to do with who you want to be, you have to voice that and be in alignment truly with what you actually want. And if you don't do that, then you're just going to stay stuck. You're going to stay stuck. That's what's going to happen. And I don't want to communicate in this way. I don't want to be like so intense, but sometimes that's what we need to hear. We need to hear like, okay, if you're feeling lack, speak to it, voice it. Communication using your voice is one of the most powerful things I really, really believe that any single person can actually do. Because any resistance that you feel in your body, that's your opportunity to voice that. Like, are you actually ready to be in alignment with your heart's desire? Most people talk about, oh yeah, I'm ready to be in alignment. I want to be who I really want. It's like, okay, but then the opportunity comes that contradicts that true vision, and you keep taking it. You keep taking the opportunity. The universe is testing you. You're consistently failing the tests. You got to stop failing the tests. The tests are trying to tell you to not believe in the lack. And ultimately, because everything is you, all you're doing is you're contradicting your own heart. Your own heart. You're literally stabbing yourself in the heart. Is that the kind of reality you want to create? Is stabbing yourself in the heart? Is that the kind of life you actually want? I would say absolutely not.